I guess I have to ask what the atmosphere was when Kyrie was introduced.
There was no atmosphere. It might as well have been a regular Tuesday in November. Like it was sort of the opposite of his entire tenure here, which was just full of insanity and noise on all sorts of levels. He kind of referred to it obliquely in his comments, saying, essentially, I made some mistakes, which that is maybe the understatement of the century. But it was jarring. I mean, as someone who covered this team back when it moved to Brooklyn 12 years ago, it is jarring how much things have degraded, at least how it feels anyway, from an atmosphere standpoint here. Like, it just doesn't feel like there's any fans really for the Nets at all at these games. Like, you come every night and the visiting team is getting massive cheers compared to the home team. And whenever Kyrie made a shot, the cheers were a lot louder than the handful of boos he was getting from the home fans. I don't think it's because there was like a massive amount of Nets fans cheering for Kyrie. I think there were a lot of Mavs fans here cheering for Kyrie and Luka. And it's just sort of what it's been like on a nightly basis of late. And it made for kind of a weird atmosphere. I mean, perhaps the funniest part was, last week when Kevin was here, they did a, welcome back video and a nice little tribute. Today, they just do welcome back to Kyrie, to Seth Curry, who played like a year and a half here, played like 80 games, and Markieff Morris, who played 27 games here. Had them all like lumped in together. Welcome back, guys.
Hey, did Mr. Whammy have a sign?
I did not see Mr. Whammy. I'm sure he had a sign. He always does. But yeah, it was a weird night, and Kyrie was in a good mood afterward, and per usual, said a lot of stuff. Some of it
he tweeted after the game before.
He did tweet after the game.
Before,
I mean, it was all fine. I mean, it was
well.
There was no real drama or controversy for once.
Right. Well, he said, "Thank you for everything, God. I got to stay poised through the chaos and hate. The next generation is watching." Was there chaos and hate there tonight, or was he just referring to
I don't
miscellaneous chaos and hate?
Miscellaneous, I think.
Okay.
I mean, he got.
Was there any sage? Did any sage?
I didn't see any sage
burned. Okay.
I mean, this was really the quote of the day. He got asked by Brian Mahoney from the AP, was there something that could have been done to have you not ask for a trade? And he said, I don't want to get too deep into it because I love protecting the people that I'm in business with, even if it doesn't work out.
He does?
Again, it's amusing when you get into what he said next. Again, I wish all those guys well. But conversations that needed to be had weren't had before the trade deadline. And I don't know if anything needed to be salvaged. I just think it was time to get my own peace of mind and go somewhere where I was able to thrive and be in a situation where I didn't have to worry about kind of behind the back talk or the media talk or not knowing how to handle real life circumstances that have nothing to do with the game of basketball. It has everything to do with how you handle someone as a person. So that would seem to be having things to say about people you were working with. I don't know. But by Kyrie standards, that is a molehill, and there wasn't really anything else that happened. And the Mavs are way better than the Nets. And if anything else, the last week is a reminder of like the Nets had these two guys on the team, and there was all this promise of what it could be. And ultimately, they won one playoff series, and it ended with a whimper. And now they've got this team that's gone 5-15 in their last 20 games, and going into the trade deadline, it's kind of rudderless.
Well, and they won one playoff series and gave up all their draft capital. And yes, the Nets are right back in the place, not geographically, but metaphorically, where they've been for most of the franchise's history, and that is NBA irrelevancy. I mean, it just is what it is. And
they're a lot more fun, though.
They now.
Well, that's that was like their goal. They were so, they wanted a team that was like high character and fun to watch and support and everything.
Well, unfortunately, they're not that fun to watch.
There's nothing fun about the Nets these days.
They're not. It's just. It's not. I'm not trying to be a hater or anything, but they're not a particularly fun team to watch. They're not a team that has a chance to do anything other than maybe sneak into the bottom of the play-in. I mean, maybe they can scrap and become an 8 seed. And there's no benefit to being bad unless you're with the Houston Rockets, and then you're loving the way things are working out in Brooklyn. They listen, and every franchise would have done the same thing they did if they had a chance to sign KD and Kyrie. You do that 100 times out of 100. It just ended up going about as poorly as it could.